Hi, welcome back to the channel. Now, in the previous video, we looked at how we go about finding the resultant and equilibrium forces of a force diagram using specific scale. Now, further example, for some force acting at a point when the vector polygon is being drawn, the closing line, which is this one here, sometimes we might have a scenario where it crosses the vector. Example, we're going to be touching on that now. Now, we're going to be creating our force diagram as given. I'm going to be making up something now. For example, one going this way, one going, say, that way, and one going this way. All right, so let's work with that one there. All right, let me just copy these numbers here and make my life a bit easier. So one there, one over here, and one somewhere here. Now these forces will have values. Let me keep this one at 3. Let's make this one, we can make this one 1. Let's make it 1, and the other one can be equal to, let's say, 5. And let's do some matching of properties. MA, grab onto this one here. Let's make it blue. And let's make the other one, orange. Now remember, these forces are acting in various directions, and I'm going to be switching things around this time around. All right, so for example, let me grab onto this here, and I'm going to make this force, let me see, how can I do it? I'm going to put this force somewhere along here. And just put an arrow here as well, and here, and then I rotate afterwards. All right, so for this force here, all right, this force here, I'm going to call it F2. So let me grab my F2. Let me just copy this here and place it all over. So I'm creating my little force diagram here. So I have one there, one is going to be here, one is going to be there. All right, so let's label our forces. Now this one here is going to be F1, F1. This one here will be F2. And then finally we have F3 right there. F1 is acting up in that direction there, so let's rotate it. All right, probably about there. All right, F2 will be acting, let me rotate this one there. F2 will be acting in that direction here. All right, let's switch things up. F3 will be acting, so let's rotate that there. F3 will be acting that way. Yeah, so let's switch things up. All right, now we have our given force diagram at the various points here. All right, so we're going to be working with this here, and we're going to be creating a vector polygon. So let's go ahead and create our vector polygon based on this one here. But remember, we're going to be using a scale as well. So let's copy this, and we're going to be using this scale here. So for every 1 unit, every 1 unit of this here is going to be equal to 10 centimeter. All right, so let's find out these angles here. All right, so let's go ahead and create our little drawing. So I'm going to be using a reference line here because AutoCAD records angles in anti-clockwise direction unless you choose otherwise. So we're going to be using this to determine where our lines will be. So for example, let's find out these angles. So from here to here, is 92 here to around here. All right, I'm gonna try to figure that one out. Angle from here to around here is going to be equal to 92 plus 160, 131. Then we have this one here, that angle there, 102 from that one there. And then here we have a 29. All right, so let's see if we can create these lines here. So if we're using 10 centimeter being equal to 1 unit, it means that this line here, starting there, being drawn at an angle of 92 degrees, and then the length of it is going to be equal to 30. All right, so that's it there, 30. All right, then we have this one here. All right, this one here is at an angle of 29. I'm going to give you a little trick here. I'm going to go ahead and click here, and I'm going to go greater than symbol, and I'm going to enter minus 29, minus 29 to get to that spot pretty quickly. All right, now I can enter the length. So this is only going to be 10 centimeter. All right, because it's just 1 unit. Then we have this one over on this side here. All right, so we have 29, so add that to 100, that's 129, and then we add 2 to that, that's 130, and 131. So let's draw a line that is 131, minus 131, that is. So greater than symbol, 131. I forgot to add the minus 131 to make things simple. Now that it's locked in that direction, 5 multiplied by 10 is 50 centimeter. All right, so that's it right there. Let me see if we can match some properties so you can see what's going on. So that is it right there. All right, then we have our blue. All right, that's our blue there. All right, and then we have our white. All right, so let's go ahead and copy these lines here so we can highlight those points. CP still from point P. Let me go ahead and do that again. All right, let's go again. CP for copy. My base point is there, and let's place it right there. All right, so for F2 I'll have to shift things around because it's a bit small. Let me turn off ortho for that. All right, and let's grab onto this one here and move it. All right, let's move it back a bit. All right, cool. Now, once we have the forces, we can now create our what? Our vector polygon. So we're about to create our vector polygon, and we're going to see what happens using the head and tail method here. All right, so we're starting with F1. This is F1 here. So we're going to be drawing F1. Here we go with F1. So we grab onto F1 and we copy it and we place it somewhere along here. Then we get F2. Where's F2? F2 is right here. Let's copy F2, grabbing onto it from point P here, and then let's place it right here. All right. Now let's grab onto F3, force 3, and we're going to copy it and we're going to place it where? Because again, this time we're not touching on or grabbing it from here, because this point in this case, this is now the head because the arrow is pointing in that direction, and this here is the tail. So let's grab onto it and let's place it somewhere along here. All right, so There you go. It looks a bit weird, but that is it. Now let's connect our points. Let's connect our points. So we're drawing our line. So from force 3 to force 1 right there. All right. So this is now our equilibrant. All right. So this is our equilibrant. Let me copy this and place it there to show you. This is now our equilibrant force. This one here. All right. And there you go. That is your equilibrant. All you need to do to find out the magnitude of that is simply measure it and simply divide by 10. So for example, I'll go ahead and measure from there to there. 75 divided by 10, so you know that's going to be about 7.5 units of whatever it is. All right, there you go. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any recommendations, please go ahead and leave that down in the comment section. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you in the next one.